Upon arriving at my grandmother's house, which we only visit once a year during the Oban festival, my brother and I immediately went outside to play, bursting with excitement. Basking in the refreshing breeze, we ran around the rice paddies together. Then, as the day reached its zenith and the sun was fully risen, the wind suddenly stopped. Just when I thought so, an unnaturally warm and unsettling breeze began to blow. I complained, slightly annoyed, "Why is there such a warm wind blowing when it's already so hot?" feeling robbed of the refreshing feeling from earlier. My brother, however, had been looking in a different direction for some time. In that direction stood a scarecrow. "What's with that scarecrow?" I asked my brother, to which he replied, "No, it's beyond that," and stared even more intently. Curious, I gazed far beyond the rice paddies. Indeed, there was something visible. "What is that?" From afar, it was unclear, but there was a white figure, about the size of a person, moving sinuously. And there was nothing around but the rice paddies. No one was nearby. I momentarily found it strange, but soon reasoned, maybe it's a new type of scarecrow? Definitely. Since there were never moving scarecrows before, someone from the farm must have come up with it. It must be moving because of the wind that's been blowing since earlier. My brother seemed convinced by my precise interpretation, but his expression vanished in an instant. The wind stopped abruptly again. However, the white figure continued to move sinuously as before. My brother exclaimed in surprise, "Hey, it's still moving. What on earth is that?" Driven by curiosity, he returned home, grabbed a pair of binoculars, and came back to the spot. With a bit of excitement, he said, "I'll look first, so just wait a bit," and eagerly peered through the binoculars. Suddenly, his expression changed drastically. He turned pale, started sweating profusely, and eventually dropped the binoculars he was holding. Despite being scared by my brother's transformation, I asked him, "What was it?" He slowly answered, "It's better not to know." His voice was no longer his own. He walked slowly back to the house. After hearing his words, I lacked the courage to look, though I was still curious. From a distance, it just seemed like a white figure moving strangely. It was a bit odd, but no real sense of terror arose. But my brother, I decided I had to see. What was it that had terrified my brother so much? I had to see it with my own eyes. I was about to pick up the dropped binoculars when my grandfather came running towards me, sweating profusely. Before I could ask what was wrong, he frantically asked, "You mustn't look at that white figure." "Did you look? Did you see it through those binoculars?" I hesitantly replied, "No, not yet." And my grandfather said, "Good," and collapsed in relief, crying. Confused, I was sent back to the house. Upon returning, everyone was crying. Was it because of me? No, that wasn't it. Looking closely, only my brother was laughing maniacally, dancing sinuously, just like that white figure. The sight of my brother filled me with a terror far greater than that of the white figure. And on the day we were to return home, my grandmother said, "It would be easier for your brother to stay here. It's cramped there, and considering what people would say, he wouldn't last a few days. It's best to keep him here, and after a few years, we can let him out into the rice paddies." Hearing these words, I screamed and cried loudly. My brother, as he was before, was gone. Even if we meet again next year at my parents' home, it wouldn't be my brother anymore. Why did this happen? We were just playing together until recently. Why? I desperately wiped away my tears, got in the car, and left my parents' home. As my grandparents waved goodbye, my brother, now completely changed, seemed to wave at me for a moment. As I moved further away, I tried to see my brother's expression through the binoculars, and indeed, he was crying. His expression was smiling, but it was a sad smile I had never seen from my brother before, the first and last. And as I turned the corner and lost sight of him, I continued to look through the binoculars while crying. Someday, you'll go back to how you were, right? Thinking this, I reminisced about my brother's original form while overlooking the green expanse of the rice paddies. And as I recalled memories with my brother, I just kept looking through the binoculars. That was when it happened. I had seen something up close that I knew I shouldn't have.